Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. I think it's working. I think we're actually good. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another video. I hope we're all doing good. Oh my god, that's an outpouring of support. Hello. Let me just get in game. My plan always here. I guess we'll play this. My plan. Okay, so first of all, this is basically going to be a vlog video. Oh my god, I have a lot of pop-ups. I have not logged in for a long time. Let's see. This is going to be more of a vlog than anything else. But the Super Adventure Festival's going on, so maybe I'll run around in there while chatting. But I kind of always wanted to start here. Actually, I'll tell you what, I wanted to start this vlog, the fire video. I wanted to start actually in GW1 in the, you know, that burning forest level in the dungeon in the Catacombs of Cathandrax. I think that's the one. Or at least where the Titan is outside in the in the forest. I wanted to go there because really I'm kind of on a big Guild Wars 1 ambition at the moment. But yeah, I've been kind of distracted. So yes, hello. First of all, it's very late at night. Sorry guys that was such an awkward intro. I'm on a very janky, very weird, very temporary setup right now. It's been at least a week since I really wanted to get back to streaming and talk to you guys, and so, well, we're just going to push through it here. It's also very, very, very late at night, which is pretty much the only time that I can stream at the moment. Great, we're going to kill this guy while we're on a support build, which is going to take forever. So the next little while, you're pretty much, and he's immune to burning. They're just going to be very, very late videos. So we will see what we can do about that. So yeah, what exactly is going on here? Hold on. We have a problem. 1 second.
Fired up.
All right, no, we're good. We're good. Sorry, that's the fans of the PC spinning up really hard because we're playing Guild Wars. It is actually streaming. Oh, and you guys will have to tell me if the internet can actually hold out here as well. So, all right, go into chat. Hello to the people in the live chat. Oh my God, we just had a bunch of gift memberships. Thank you to Banjo for the 10 gift memberships. Thank you to John for the 10. Thank you to Hugo Sloth for the 10. And congrats to anybody who managed to actually get one. Also, we had a donation there from Arvin's, $10. It says, really sucks to hear about all you've been through. Hope this helps. Thank you very much. I don't really know what you've heard I've been through, to be fair. But thank you guys. And thanks for making it to this really, really late night episode. So here's the situation. My house burnt down. Kind of. I mean, a good chunk of it did. I was in a real, actual house fire. I had that moment that, you know, you hear about your whole life, that you might wake up in the middle of the night and there's a fire and you need to figure out what you're going to do. It actually happened, which is weird. So I'll tell you guys the story. And I'm kind of log jammed at the moment because there is so much I can and could talk about. And I have to be sort of careful about the things that I talk about. Because it doesn't all involve me. It involves a neighbor as well. So first of all, it was. So I'll just make this clear. This fire was not my fault. And so that's why it's kind of tricky to talk about in a way. But also there's just the thing, you know, I do this anonymously. I don't usually talk to you guys about real life stuff. I don't really usually let you guys in. But I guess, you know, I'll kind of have to be able to tell the story to a certain degree here. So if you guys remember, about a year ago, I moved. 90% of the time you've been watching me with this channel and everything we've been doing, I've been, you know, living on my own, I've been out, I've been doing whatever. About a year ago, so just a bit of background for you all, my stepdad retired. He actually was kind of forced out right before he wanted to really retire, but whatever. And I'm from a very working class background. We don't really have much money or whatever. So my parents decided to move far away, to a place where they have no friends, a place where they have no family, completely disconnected from everything, but a much cheaper area of the country. And I basically said, well, look, I'll go with you guys. I'll rent off of you guys for a while. I'll save a bit of money. And, you know, we'll have at least some connection up there and we'll get to know people. And, you know, it's not going to be forever or whatever, but that's the situation. So if you guys remember the year, the move I was talking about a year ago, that's what happened. And so we're pretty isolated up here. We don't really have a support network or anything, and it's made this fire like a lot, which is kind of our own fault because it's been a while and we could have spent more time getting to know people. But yeah, it's made the post-fire fallout pretty hectic and pretty crazy. I've been in 3 different places now, and the moving is not done. The place that I'm currently at is temporary. I've been in Airbnbs. I've been at a fishing retreat. In fact, so I've logged into this game 3 times since the event, which was about 3.5 weeks ago, something like that. I've played this game 3 times, and only to meet up with the people I raid with to do Ura progression. Believe it or not, I was actually, because we were right on the edge of killing Ura. I have actually got Ura LM now, by the way. We killed it before the big patch. Guild Wars has had loads of stuff going on as well, which I guess we can talk about in time. But yeah, so I was actually raiding from like a janky little, you know, rickety desk in in a caravan effectively one day, and I was so hoping that that was going to be the day that we killed Ura, and it really could have been. We were very, very, very close, but we never managed to make it. So so anyway, yeah, so there's been lots of moving. Where I'm currently recording now, why this is so late at night is, and why I'm explaining all of this is I'm not alone here at the moment. And I'm very loud while I'm recording, and I like to have my privacy, but this is a very small property. I haven't had a door on the office. So basically, a very generous and very... See, this is what's weird. This involves a lot of people that aren't me. Basically, a very generous and very nice and very elderly man, a man in his 80s, who I did not know before this fire, basically a complete stranger, but who lives a few doors down, said, hey, to help you out, you can come and stay with me. So that sounded good, right? But he didn't have... It's a very small place. It's a bungalow. It's only got 1 floor. It's a situation where I'm trying to sleep in my bed, my temporary bed at the moment. I can hear people chewing in the front room. Okay, so so I've been like, how am I going to record? You know, with people wandering around, getting along with their lives and stuff. So what I've decided to do is to do it late at night, where everyone else is asleep and they have a very loud fan blowing in their room. So hopefully that kind of works. And so for the next few days, so the nice man who is letting me stay at his place at the moment, he kind of did it as a favor for the short term, but it's looking like it's going to take at least a year for the property to be rebuilt and for everything to be sorted. So I'll be needing a more permanent place. So there's going to be another move. So, you know, might have been better ultimately to have stayed at the fishing retreat. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, there's a bunch of shit basically going on. But that's not the fun part of the story. So let's rewind to the day of the fire. I'll tell you guys what happened, what my experience was, give you a little bit of life advice that you won't listen to because I'm just a guy on the internet doing a video and it's not real, right? Like, so you're not really going to care, which is the situation I was in until a couple of weeks ago. But it is real. Fire is a real threat. So where do I start? I start by looking at the live chat to see if I've missed anything. Did the fishies make it? Says Sammy Bree. So I do have pictures for you all. And one of the reasons I was a bit slow to start off here was I was desperately digging through my phone for a before picture of the tank. Because I've talked about that in various videos. And people have kept saying, oh, show us it, show us it. And I never did. And no, the fish did not survive. The fish all died. The tank is a wreck. You will see a picture of that. And I've managed to get a before picture as well, which I will grab for you guys. So yeah, that's a bit sad. And I had a very cold, very... It's weird, man, because the property had no water or anything. So I was like, what do I do with the fish? I can't flush them down the toilet. I can't... So I ended up I know this might be wrong with me. There was a lot going on. I have a little sympathy. I basically just had to fish them out, the bodies out into a bucket and just pour it out onto some gravel. I don't know, like... I guess I could have drained the liquid and found a bin and thrown them in the bin. That probably would have been a bit better. There's going to be bits of this story that I don't come across very well. Alright, how do I start this story? I think the story starts with me stepping in dog shit, to be honest. Maybe slightly before. Okay, so obviously it was very late March. We're now in April. It was very late March, and as you guys know, that's when the winter ends. So the sun was finally coming out. Now, last summer I dug, not talking about the fish tank. Last summer I dug them a pond for their garden. and they put fish in it, which I didn't want them to do. And those fish are now a massive hassle because it's like, fuck, there's no... But anyway, and so last year, after I dug the pond in summer, which was a fun, cool little project for me, there was a huge algae bloom, really, really massive. The water went very green very quickly, and it was a nightmare to keep on top of. So around Christmas last year, I bought a UV filter. So basically what happens is, what I have in the pond is a pump, which connects to some tubing I set up, which connects to a wire, you know, a waterfall basically, that filters the water as it goes through. Lots of friendly bacteria grow in there, like the kind you get in Yakult, and then, you know, it cycles the water. So that keeps the nitrates and the nitrogen cycle in balance, but it doesn't do anything about the algae. So around Christmas, in the dead of winter, where it's fucking miserable when you start going more up north and the houses get cheaper, by the way, fucking miserable weather. It is so windy here, it's unreal. And I'll tell you, the wind is a big part of this story. I'll get to that in a second. I bought this UV filter, but there's barely any sun, so I didn't really need it. What I needed to do was install the UV filter in spring. So it gets to late March, the sun is coming out, and I'm like, well, I need to put this UV filter up. So doing a bunch of plumbing, basically, throughout the day. Well, not plumbing, but, you know, water pond plumbing. So I'm connecting the filter to some tubing to... Sorry, I'm connecting the pump to some tubing, to a UV filter, to more tubing, to the wire, right? I'm adding this extra bit in the middle. And the UV filter basically is like a glass chamber you run water through, and it kills the algae as it goes through. But it's very good at keeping algae levels low, which they are currently, because there's been no sun, because it's been Christmas. If you wait until summer to do it after an algae bloom, it's not ideal. It's not very good. So I'm getting on top of it, doing it in the late March. Except the pipes are shit, the fittings are shit, everything's rubbish. So I finally get all the right pieces, you know, basically guessing and figuring out what millimeter... Because, you know, when you're buying piping, you have to know the millimeter... Yeah, you need to know the diameter of the inside of the pipe and the outside, and you need to know, like, exactly what the name of the piece is that you want. I think there were hose tails I needed and stuff. Anyway, so I spend an afternoon setting that up. I'm a little nervous about it. I set the power on. It's all good. It's precariously balanced over the edge of the pond because there's a slight leak at one bit, so it's not where it really needs to be. And it's a very windy day, but it's a bright, sunny day. And I think, okay, the wind's pretty bad, but this waterfall, even though it's a bit precarious, is going to be filled up. It's going to be very heavy because water is heavy, and I can just figure it out tomorrow. As I'm going back in, I step in dog poo, okay? So I take my shoes off, and you're all wondering, why the fuck is WP talking about all this? All right, it's background, it's color, it's padding, okay? So I step in the dog poo, and I'm like, well, shit. Take my shoes off, throw them in the wash, go upstairs, don't do a stream. I should have done a stream. I was preparing... See this here? Look at these on the top right. Radiance of the Sun God and Castor and Vault Dispatch. That's what I should be doing. I don't remember what I did. The washing ends, take the shoes out, put them on the radiator near the kitchen door to dry off, and go to bed. Actually, no, then I'm up like all night, right? But then I go to bed. Okay. So, as you guys know, I'm basically up all night. I'm aligned American, really. I sleep during the day. The others in the house are out and about and doing things during the day, but I sleep during the day. As I'm sleeping that day, right? So I go to bed at maybe, I don't know, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, something like that. That's like American EST. It's another 5 hours from where we are in the UK. And as I'm sleeping, it's really fucking windy, like apocalyptically windy. I don't know what it is. Something about this area of the country around spring. Because, by the way, it was almost a year ago that I moved as well. I haven't been here long. And it was very windy at that point. As spring was ending last year, it was crazy windy. Anyway, I'm talking like movie-style wind, rattling, shaking the house. Every door and every window is shut. But somehow, you know that like movie-style, wild wind sound? It sounds like there's a ghost, and it's actually shaking like a brick house. That's what it's like, right? It's so fucking windy, and I actually kind of like it. I like really, really loud storms. I like it when the weather gets a bit scary. It's a bit of a, it's one of the only ways I can still feel alive. But no, so it's very, very, very windy, and I'm aware of how windy it is. But I think whatever, you know, because I'm tired. And so I sleep in this room with the aquarium. I always turn my PC off at night, but I also sleep with a big loud fan for white noise, and, you know, I just like sleeping with the fan. And I'm sleeping, and I hear the fan turn off. And I hear the aquarium turn off. And I'm like, oh, there's been a power cut. And since coming up here, there's been maybe 2 to 3 power cuts. Which is weird. I mean, I remember growing up that there were quite a few. I probably make myself sound old here, but power cuts used to be fairly regular, but not anymore. There was a power cut, but there's been a couple here. We've had problems with the electricity and stuff. And I thought, you know, it's fine. It's whatever. I'll just sleep through it. The power will come back on in a second. And I sort of doze. And then I hear, I think it's my stepdad. I hear someone calling my name. And basically, we all treat each other as adults here. You know, they don't bother me. I don't bother them. We don't wake each other up or anything like that. And so I'm thinking, I'm sure it's not important. It's whatever. So I sort of just, I don't respond because I'm in like that half dream state. And I'm basically sort of saying, you know, I don't really want to get up, okay? Because I hadn't been asleep for very long, all right? I'm basically like a moody teenager not waking up. Because I think they're just going to talk about the power cut probably or whatever. So I doze again. And this whole period of the story really scares me looking back on it, all right? It really does. And I don't know how long it was. Maybe another 5 minutes or something? Another 5 minutes? I don't know. But I'm just trying to sleep through it. And of course, a lot of you will have clocked already. The power cut is because there's a raging fire. And so then I hear my name really getting shouted. And my stepdad comes upstairs and starts banging on the door. And I'm like, what is this? And he's like, you'll have to get out of the house. The garden's on fire. And I was like, oh shit, that sounds serious. There's no way they'd be saying that to me if it's just a little fire in the garden. Now, I'm not that panicked. In fact, I'm deadly calm. Like, I'm not really anything at that point. But I get up. I sleep butt naked, by the way. Completely naked. So I'm thinking, shit, there could be a serious fire right now. I've got to get all my clothes. I can't just run. And so here, I don't know whether I'm right about this, but my understanding of fire safety is you're just supposed to get out. You're supposed to get the fuck out as fast as possible. That's all sort of I knew, or I was trained for, I guess, growing up. I don't know. You hear things, right? You hear if there's a chip fan oil fire, don't put water on it. You know, there's things you hear. And I don't know. I was just primed to get out, but I'm standing there naked thinking, well, I've got to get some clothes on. And then I'm thinking, well, all right, do I bring my coat? Because yes, it's sunny out now, and yes, it's windy, and I can still hear the wind, the crazy wind. But it's also, I guess we're not going to be doing SAB here, by the way. There's no way I'm going to be able to focus on that. We're going to run aimlessly around. Isn't that great WP content? So I'm thinking, what should I get, basically? So I get dressed, and I look around my room, and I'm like, this could be it. This place, if this is a real fire, everything I'm looking at right now might be about to burn away. Everything. And as I say, I'm not like in permanent living conditions with those two at the moment. It's just sort of an interim thing. All my shit is like crammed into like moving boxes and stuff, right? Like I have nearly everything boxed up, and it's like I have very, very little space at the moment. And I'm like, this is everything, you know. This is like, I dumped a bunch of stuff from my last move last year, you know. So I have like all this old nostalgia stuff. Here's a good example of something you guys will at least relate to. You know, like the amazing Azuric map and sheet music and shit that I've got. If you guys watch my Azuric series from before, like all that kind of sentimental stuff, like weird. I'll just tie it to the channel as much as I can, right? But like Guild Wars merch, you know. Like my Eve doll and stuff, like everything. I've got everything that, not just that, but all the expensive equipment, the fish tank and everything, which, you know, is an expensive hobby, can I just say, and obviously has all the sentimental value of it and stuff. But obviously you can't take all of that. And here, there's a weird ironic thing that happened. Okay, I thought, okay, phone, wallet, keys, obviously, get those. And so in the move last year, I organized like all my files, my diplomas, everything, right? Like all the important actual like paperwork that I've got. And I basically needed a good discrete filing cabinet to keep it all in. I organized it all. I went to Amazon maybe 9 months ago, and on Amazon I bought, I was looking for filing cabinets, but Amazon showed me basically like this almost briefcase type filing cabinet that is fireproof. And so I bought that about 9 months ago, put all my most essential documents into that, like passport and stuff, right? And I knew exactly where it was. It was at the bottom of my wardrobe. Now, it's fireproof, but because it was fireproof, it was like what jumped into my mind. So ironically, the one thing that would have survived the fire, I actually grabbed on my way out. So I leave the house in the end with nothing but like this thing that would have survived the fire anyway, which was all my essential documents. And I'm just thinking, well, this is it. I mean, at least I can save myself some aggro by grabbing this. The others, by the way, later in the trauma of it and everything, they didn't think to grab anything. So I'm kind of happy I had the presence of mind to do that. But I don't know whether I'm already making a mistake at this point, because, you know, fires move quick, and maybe even just those few seconds that I was sitting there deliberating that was silly. But I remember it so crystal clear, man. Like that moment standing there in my room wondering those last few seconds, what the fuck do I grab before I get out in emergency? Like I was, and again, I wasn't panicked or anything, but I was very, very like locked in. I was like, shit, I'm going to probably remember this moment right here if this is a serious fire. The other thing that I was thinking about, okay, so now to be a nerdy little loser or whatever, is the PC. Except I'm not being a nerdy little loser. The PC is very expensive, okay, very expensive. But also, and again, so I feel a bit dodgy talking about some of this stuff. So let's talk about internet security and all of that. I use a password database. I'm sure I've talked about this on streams before. You probably shouldn't talk about this on streams and stuff, right? But I use a single password database, all right? I won't talk about the exact software or the exact database or whatever. But this password database has fucking everything, right? All my passwords are ridiculously strong, crazy passwords that I do not know, okay? They have special characters, they have numbers, they have uppercase, they have lowercase, they have the works, right? They are ludicrous for every account, and I'm talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of accounts, right? Not to mention all the different methodologies of two-factor authentication and where they are, security questions, just everything, right? So I have a password database. Now, when I set that password database, and that is on my PC, if I lose the hard drive, and I'm updating that thing constantly, if I lose the hard drive that has that password database, I'm fucked, okay? So because I do this anonymously, like if you were to get my phone, IRL, my phone doesn't have WoodenPotatoes stuff on it. It has IRL stuff. It has like things associated with my IRL identity, no two-factor authentication. Well, there is two factors. It's tricky, right? But my phone doesn't really help me much. Basically, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, if this PC burns down, I lose access to the YouTube channel. I lose access to my Twitch channel. I lose access to my Twitter, my Blue Sky, my Discord. I don't even have Discord on my phone. If you guys look at me on Discord, right, and many of you will because you're in the Spud Club, you'll never see me on my phone on Discord because I don't use Discord on my phone. I would have nothing at all right? So I do actually, so when I set up my password database, I do actually have backups, physical backups. I have, because some of you will be thinking this, you'll be thinking that's crazy. I do have backups. I have actual like USBs. But they're horrendously out of date, all right? Horrendously out of date. And here's the ironic thing. Years ago, because, you know, the vast majority of my adult life I've been living on my own, as a backup, I think years ago, I gave to my mum one of these USB things. I said, look, don't lose this. If there's ever an emergency and I lose everything, I'm going to need this off of you to sort of set up all my digital stuff. Don't lose this. So she's got that. But I presume that's now in the house that's burning down, right? I had another one for myself, and I thought I might have put it in that fireproof bag. I don't know, right? But so I didn't know. So I was thinking, and they're out, whatever those backups are, wherever they are they're out of date. They're horrendously out of date. So there's the money behind the PC and everything. So I get my clothes on, I take this fireproof bag, and I'm looking at the PC, and I'm thinking I could just grab the PC. Fuck the monitors, fuck the £800 audio interface and the £600 microphone and all this crazy expensive shit, right? Like, fuck all of that, but at least grab the PC. And I'm looking at it, and I got one hand, I'm holding this this fireproof bag, and I'm thinking, no, this is nuts, right? Because I'm going to have to unplug everything as well. And I have this nice standing desk, and I have the PC on the standing desk, so it is high, it is accessible. But to unscrew everything, get all the cables out, and it's a big, heavy PC with a glass side. You want to be careful. There's like a dog door, because they have a dog that I'd be like navigating past. And you know, bundling it downstairs, and I'm like, I don't know how serious this fire is, so I leave, and I think, okay, what does a reasonable person do? Maybe grab some documents. Does a reasonable person grab this big fucking unwieldy PC that I'll probably shatter the side as I rush it downstairs? So I leave the PC, okay? Now, I have to tell you guys, the fact that I left the PC in there caused me so much fucking stress over the next 6-7 hours, you have no idea. I'm about to tell you a story of like roaring fucking flames and like a serious fire and people screaming and crying and stuff, right? And all I was thinking, and this is pathetic, right? This is so nerdy and so loserish, but this is who you're talking to here right now. WoodenPotatoes, everyone. I was basically thinking, fuck, man, my PC. But the thing is, right, like, it's like my income and everything, you know? It's like, if for some people, losing stuff in a house fire is material. For me, it's like, I'm scared it's like a loss of everything, right? And the whole time over those next 7 hours, I was looking at the burning building, just thinking to myself, I should have grabbed the PC, I should have grabbed the PC, I should have grabbed the PC, fuck, I should have grabbed the PC. Oh shit, it was real, it was... Because the other thing is, in that moment where I'm deciding to leave, I don't even know if it's real. And I'm thinking, I'm going to look like a fucking dickhead if I come coming out with the PC. So in the moment, I didn't take it. I'll tell you what, any business savvy people out there, anyone with a bit of capital behind your name, you know what there should be? There should be like quick release hard drives. All I really needed was the SSD, right? All I really needed to do was take the glass panel off and whip out the the M.2. The NVMe in the M.2 slot. Could have grabbed the SSD and that's it. That's all I really needed. It was just the data. It was just that little bit of data for the password database. But what has this taught me? This has taught me, once I'm finally settled down, I'm going to look into actually doing a full-blown like key fob thing for the password database. The thing is with that, I've always been a bit scared of that because, like, what if I lose it? You know, I've always thought I could put it on my keychain. So I don't know. I'll figure something out with the security. Because it's not on the situation I was in. It was a bit ridiculous, but I was properly traumatized by that. The thought, and I'm not underselling this. It's everything, right? Like 9 different email addresses. There's so much stuff. Anyway, all right. So I'm running downstairs. I got my clothes on. I got the bag. I don't know how serious this fire is. All I've heard is that the garden's on fire, and suddenly it's deathly silent, right? Except for the wind, there's nothing going on. No one's in the house. The others have fucking fled. I don't know. I don't know how long it can have been since my name was being called. And I want to be clear, all right? I did not hear there's a fire, and then I tried to go back to sleep, all right? It was just... After I heard that, I got up immediately. I probably made it sound like I did that by being defensive about that. But so I get up. Now, what happened exactly? I can't remember the order. I think no, okay, so there's like a conservatory at their property. Like a little glass, not a conservatory, what's the word? A conservatory would be like a big glass thing at the back of the house. There's like a porch, okay? Right? Like a little opening porch in front, like an extension to the house where they have their shoe rack and I've got my shoes and stuff, right? So I open the front door, and so once you get into the porch, there's all these windows, right? So I don't know what I saw at that point. But I can tell you what I should have seen is nothing but black smoke everywhere. Just fucking billows. Like Like, you can't see shit, right? But it's all held back because it's behind a glass window. I don't know if I saw it at that point, but I look for my shoes. Ah, okay, so you guys see. So basically the route from my bedroom to the front door would be a straight shot, straight down the stairs, straight into the porch and out. But I look and I don't have my shoes there. All my other shoes are up in my wardrobe. I keep like a quick pair of, easy shoes in the front porch, but my nicer shoes are up in my wardrobe because, again, I have most things boxed up and not really available because I'm only temporarily, here really. So I'm like, fuck, where are my shoes? And I realize, they're actually in the back of the house. They're on the radiator because I stepped in dog shit and I put them in the washing machine before I went to bed. So I run back. So now I go through the whole house, and you're wondering why I'm telling you this bit, because I'm a little bit scared and thinking, I need to get out of the house quickly. Go right through. Now the radiator that I put them on is the closest to the kitchen, and so what you guys need to know is that this is a kitchen extension. Again, so it's a cheap property that's had extra stuff tacked onto it, really. So there's a kitchen extension, which means that technically I'm right next to the big, thick, heavy back door to the house right now. I'm right next to the back door to the house. But it's always wide open because it doesn't really lead outside anymore. It leads to a kitchen extension. And I had taken my shoes out of the kitchen washing machine and put it on the radiator. I grabbed the shoes. I don't think anything about the fact that that door is wide open, or indeed the fact, and any of you fire-savvy people listening right now might be thinking of this, I don't think about the fact that I've left my bedroom door open, or the fact that the living room door is open, or that the dining room door is open, or that this big, heavy kitchen door is open. I don't think about any of that, all right? I just grabbed my shoes, which mercifully are dry already. Wouldn't have been fun to do everything that's about to come in wet shoes. Slip them on. How long have we been talking? 40 minutes already, jeez. That's not actually bad for me. Slip them on, and the house is fine. As far, everything is normal, so it would seem. Get the shoes on and go back to the porch. Now I definitely, again, I don't know what order this shit happened, right? But now I see behind the glass of the porch. When I open this fucking front door, it's going to be a catastrophe. Like, I'm not just walking. Now, I've lit fires before, right? I've had campfires. As a teenager, I've lit some fucking stupid fires as well in woody areas where we've let the fire get really, really strong and stuff, right? And I look back on myself doing that shit and think, you're such a fucking dick, right? But, I mean, that was as a teenager. So, presumably you guys know what it's like to be around a bit of campfire smoke. I'll tell you, when it is a wall all around you, it is very different. And it's funny because you have fire safety talks your whole life, right? Like, and they always go on and on about the smoke. They go on about how you don't really die to the fire. Very few people burn to death. What they do is they choke on ash. They choke on smoke. That you can't. Firefighters can't see shit because there's smoke everywhere. You can't see anything. And immediately I was like, I'm going to open this door. I got to walk through that. And you know what it puts me, why I mentioned campfires, is it puts me in mind of, when you're sitting at a big, like, recreational fire and the wind goes in the wrong direction and blows like a waft into your face, how uncomfortable that is. Now imagine, like, seeing a wall of it and you're like, oh shit, I got to walk through like fucking 5 seconds of this at least to get through this. And at that moment I realized this is not just a small garden fire. This is mental. And so that's the thing. The wind on the day, all right? Don't light fires in wind. I don't know whether that needs to be said to anyone. All right, so this is kind of hard to talk about, and I sort of have to be respectful and a bit cagey here. Okay, so when I skipped a tiny detail. What do you guys think I thought when the power cut? When just the fan went off. No one had said anything. I didn't think I needed to get out. Just the power went off. Just this ominous power cut. What I thought, honestly, was I thought, oh, fuck, that's my fault. Now, why would I think that? I thought, fuck, that's my fault. Because the day before, I had been fucking with the pond filter and the UV chamber. The UV chamber is not supposed to get wet or be anywhere near the pond. And the truth is, I had left it quite near the pond. And I knew that was a risk. I thought the wind I thought there was a chance the wind would blow the waterfall box that I just set up, that I just plumbed in. I thought that had blown it into the pond, and then the pipe had pulled the UV filter in, and it had blown the mains. That's what I thought had happened, and I thought it was my fault that there'd been a power cut at least. And when I heard the garden's on fire, there was a small part in the back of my brain. I'm thinking, I've caused this fucking fire. I'm an idiot. I've caused this fire. So I've thought, shit, that's really bad. That's my fault. But it wasn't anything to do with that whatsoever. The waterfall box was safely on. There was never any risk at all. And I knew that there wasn't any risk. The fucking thing's massive and heavy. And there was loads of slack in the pipe. And even if a filter had fallen into a body of water and that had somehow done something with the electricity, I mean, it would have been completely submerged in the water. It was nothing. But, you know, this is where your mind goes. You think, is it my fault or whatever? So just to be clear, it wasn't my fault. On this incredibly windy day, so there's a lot going on with, like, insurance and stuff, and I don't want to talk shit about another human being who made an honest mistake, right? I don't want to. I'll just put it this way. A neighbor lit a fire in their garden, next to an extremely flammable hedge, like you won't believe how fucking close to the hedge, right? Which is... Now, if you guys don't know this about hedges, all right, and in terms of whether they're a fire risk or not, leaves of plants, right, are quite waxy, and especially if you've got, like, big conifers and things, right, like, they're very waxy. If you think about, like, evergreens, they're actually fairly fire resistant because they're very oily, and they're actually kind of fire resistant on the outside, right? So if you have just a small little fire that you're lighting to burn because you like lighting fires, or I don't know, because you're illegally burning waste, or whatever you've decided to do with your life, if you're lighting a fire and you're in your 30s, if you've lit a fire near something and it's not too big or too bad, the hedge is actually, you know, they're all right-ish, all right? I'm not recommending you do it, but what you need to know about hedges is outside of that layer, that immediate green layer, if you actually go to any big hedge, new build available at midnight. What the fuck? Okay. Well, we're not going to be installing that new build. What you should know about hedges is inside, as soon as you just get a little bit deep into the hedge, just a little bit, it's very dry. And you, come on, please tell me you've been... See, I don't know why I even need to qualify this, but I've met a lot of people as an adult who don't seem to have gone outside much when they were younger. But basically, surely you guys have climbed around in trees and hedges and shit before. Like, it's all dead wood in there, right? It's all very dense, but also fully aired out, dry, dead tinder. Hedges, if there is a fire that gets bad enough that it can get just a little bit inside the hedge, it's fucking bad. As soon as that flammable shit on the inside ignites, it's got brilliant access to air, the fire will go, all right? They are very, very, very flammable. Don't light fires near hedges, all right? Don't do it. Don't light fires on incredibly windy days where the fire can get wicked up in the wind. Don't light fires on incredibly windy days where the hedge itself is blowing all around and the interior flammable bits are exposed. Don't light fires that are next to hedges. Don't light fires... Well, and I could go on. Whatever. People make mistakes. So that is what had happened. So there is a wall of flame, right, as this hedge is on fire now. Basically to my right, quite far away from the front door. I'm talking like 2 gardens over almost. Like there's the front garden, then there's the side garden, then there's this hedge line where it's now on flames. So while I've been happily snoozing away during the day, you know, the lovely spring weather's come out, even though it was like really fast winds. Like for insurance, we've had to go and look up what the actual winds were on the day. Like there were weather warnings and stuff. It was that bad. So the house is like rocking, and now I've got a wall of smoke in front of me, right? So I open the door, and the first thing I see as I open the door is a complete stranger with a French accent. I don't know who this guy was. To this day, I don't know who this guy was. I think he was French. I don't know. I'm not too great with accents. Somewhere European. A guy I do not know. A guy I only saw that one day for that one moment. And he was saying, "You'll have to get out. You'll have to get out." And I'm like, fucking right, I gotta get out. Holy shit. And he was wearing high vis, right? So I could see him quite clearly. I don't know who that guy was or why he was in high vis. At the time, I assumed that he was like with the emergency services because I don't know what's going on. But the emergency services were not there, guys. It's this small rural village. Okay, it's cheap, right? Cheap. This is supposed to be as cheap as possible place, right? Didn't have much money. They've had a forced retirement. They're trying to... That's kind of the whole point, right? So, anyway... So it's isolated from the fire brigade is what I'm trying to explain. The fire service cannot get there quickly. I didn't know that at the time. I thought, oh, there's people on the scene already. Like, all right. So I get out. I immediately feel the heat. Wade through this smoke. Clear it pretty quickly, all right? I can't remember if I closed the front door or not. I think I did close the front... No, I did! I did close the front door. I closed both, the porch door and the front door. And weirdly enough, the shoes are, like, protected. The shoes didn't really get any smoke damage because of this. But yeah, so here's another thing, right? I don't know what you're actually supposed to do when there's a fire leaving a house. I don't know whether it's just get the fuck out quickly, but I'm pretty sure you're supposed to close all doors, right? Because that silos the oxygen. It means that oxygen can't circulate in there. The fire will not spread so much. I think you're supposed to close all doors. And I think finally at this point, I've been like rocked to realize, like, can I just say, I remember all of this very clearly, but I was 100% calm the whole way through the story. Until now, until I realize there's a wall of smoke and it's actually a very real thing. Because I'm like, up until this point in the story, till I actually finally see the smoke, I'm like 70% sure this isn't even a thing, right? I really am. But now I'm like, oh fuck, so I make sure the doors are shut. Get through, bow low, run through, and like, there's so much activity. So just to give you, again, a bit of background here, I haven't lived here very long. And I'm not planning on living here for very long. So I didn't really make an effort, right? And I should have made an effort. But I'll just say now, I did not know any of my neighbors. I did not know the village. Now, you guys might not know this stereotype. I don't know. It depends on where you live. But there's kind of a thing... like in urban areas, people aren't friendly. In rural areas, people are friendly. It's kind of just a human nature thing. People obviously are often, you know, they misassociate it. They say, oh, Londoners aren't friendly, or oh, the English aren't friendly, you know, or whatever. It's not that. It's just urban v rural, right? And I'll give you a very good example of why human behavior is this way. You know, if you're walking down a busy street and you're going to see 200 people down that street, it's not practical to say hello to everyone. It's not practical to make chit-chat with them. It's not practical to even say hello, right? So if you're in an urban centre walking around, people aren't friendly. They're just not. There's no need for it. And also there's that sort of fear that people are just trying to get something off of you, right? So people are more to themselves in dense populations. But you can go 5 minutes out of that city and go on a hike. Like when I hiked the South Downs Way, if you guys know what that is. It goes to the Seven Sisters, those big, beautiful, chalky cliffs. You know, you can be just 5 minutes away from the city and suddenly everyone's really friendly. If you're on a big hike and you only see someone once every 10 minutes, you're going to give them a big, enthusiastic hello when you're on the trail, and you're going to chat with them even, right? It's just about density and, like... society, that culturally that has an impact, right? So when you're in small villages, people are very friendly, they get to know each other. There's pros and cons to that, obviously, if you don't gel with the community or whatever. So anyway, they're in a village, they've bought a house in a village, and the reality is we're isolated. We should have made friends with these people, we should have got to know them, but I didn't do that. I didn't know, none of us really did it, okay? Didn't know anyone. And it's usually very quiet. You never see anyone else out of the house anyway, right? I mean, people are a bit more disconnected these days, I think, with the internet and all that. But I've never seen anything like it. I get through this smoke and there's a fucking mountain of people around. There are so many people, and I just got to... And it's not that I want to call them all looky-loos or anything like that. It was a bit odd on the day because it was a real trauma, right? And, you know, even after the fire got put out and everything... you know, hearing like the fire, not the fire. No, I'm not angry at anyone. I don't want to talk shit. But it was a very weird experience. I was pretty calm about all of this, but there were people devastated and people very sad. Basically, there were two houses went up, ours and the neighbouring property that actually lit the fire. you know, there were a lot of people involved here, and a lot of sadness, and it was a weird moment for me just seeing how many people were just sort of chatting, and it was just a fun afternoon for them, and, you know, just laughing and relaxing and, like, just openly just having fun with it. It was a weird moment, like, it's sort of like when someone close to you dies, right? Like a parent or a grandparent or someone close to you dies, and you have that weird moment where you're devastated and you feel like the whole world should stop. But the world doesn't stop. Everyone's just sort of getting on with their business. And it's like, how can that be? This person's gone. I'm so sad or whatever. It's kind of one of those little moments. I'm like looking at the wreck of the house. And there's just people chit-chatting and laughing away and stuff. And I'm like, oh, man. Like, it doesn't actually bother me. And it never got me angry. But I can see why people would get really, like, upset about that. And it's funny because I'm totally the guy that would just be laughing and chatting and being a bit inconsiderate. I'm a very, when it comes down to it, I'm very inconsiderate. And I'm a very, you know... Like, I'm not very empathetic all the time, but it was fun for me to notice that. So anyway, the street is full, and I just want to say at this point, people are so friendly and so nice. They're all strangers. This old guy that's helped me out, the entire reason that you're listening to me making this video right now, he's a stranger. He puts strangers up in his house, because he's currently living with his girlfriend. After he had a bereavement of his own and stuff. Look, I don't want to talk about other people's stuff. But basically... all these people came out of nowhere. People that I do not know. People who have offered furniture. People who have, you know, offered coffees and teas and help and, you know, given us a warm place to stay. Because, by the way, it was a sunny day and it was a windy day. It was a fucking freezing day. I don't know, anyone watching me in the UK, do you guys remember a few weeks ago towards the end of March? There was a sunny day, but it was, like, bitterly cold. It was fucking freezing. And... we had nothing. Like, I didn't think to bring my coat. And so, like, they opened, like, the local community centre for us and stayed with us and there were tears and there was, you know, shaking and stuff. And I didn't need it so much. It kind of it was basically the women were all crying and the men were running around acting like they could do things when they couldn't. That's basically what the divide was as far as I could see. That's where the people were really sad and everyone was helping. You know, everyone was saying, you know, offering to do what they could, or like prowling around on the edge of the fire as though there was something to be done when there wasn't. As I say, that they have dogs, so I kind of kept the dogs safe and happy. You know, I took them on a walk and they were panicked. The dogs had already been evacuated, by the way, just to be clear. I didn't see them when I went through the house to get my shoes and all that. They'd already been evacuated. But now they had nothing to do. And one of them's quite elderly, as you guys know, has kidney failure and all that. So, and I had a bit of an awkward moment where I went to walk the dogs and they shat on the field, because that's what dogs do when they have walks. And I put my hand in my pocket to get the poo bag, and I'm like, I don't have any poo bags. I've just got to leave this dog shit on the floor because I've got nothing, because it's all in the house. And, you know, I felt kind of bad about that. But, yeah, again, someone from the community helped me get one of those bags, and there was a lot of activity, and it just really showed me how nice people are and how many helpers there are and how thankful I am for that and how decent the world is. You know, I think it's very easy to get quite cynical and quite angry and quite isolated and sort of not believe the community is there, but it is. And those people were all total strangers and they've all been so lovely, and even not just on the day, but, you know, the days following, helping us with statements, you know, for insurance and all kinds of things. Like there's that really fucking vomit-inducing cliche out there, isn't there? Look, don't look at the disaster, look at the helpers or whatever. I'll tell you what, it's true. There were a lot of people and everyone was so nice. But yeah, so the scene is now, I'm on the side of the road. There are people crying and sad. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do. I take the dogs on that walk. There's people everywhere. What can I see? There's a wall of fire next to the house. And there's a bunch of like decorative trees in their gardens. Like I've had to figure out all the species of all these trees so that they can be claimed and stuff. What was it? It was like there was like a cherry blossom, and there was I can't remember. A bunch of trees. Now the fire leaps from this hedge. Like the hedge is already a wall of fire. It leaps to all these extra trees. This entire big, beautiful garden, right, which was one of the reasons they moved and picked this property, it's all going up. The fire isn't necessarily at the house yet, but it gets very close. Now, round the back of the garden, where the fire is at its strongest, there are two things to know about. One is the kitchen extension. As I said, it's an extension. And the fire will go from the hedge to the garden to the extension, and the house will properly catch on fire. You can't quite see it from where I'm standing, but we all know it. We know that fucking kitchen's there. And it's a weird thing where I look back on it, I'm like, holy shit, 5 minutes ago, I was standing at that radiator picking up my shoes and looking into that kitchen, and it was fine as far as I could see. But no, it was right next to the fire, and I'll show you a picture in a second. The kitchen is gone. The kitchen is like a complete well, it's not gone, but you know, the structure's there, but there's like holes in the walls, and all the cabinets have melted down, and there's certain ash all over the floor, and it's fucked. The kitchen's gone basically. But here's the funny thing. I mentioned that kitchen door. You might be wondering, why is WP going on about that so much? I am so angry with myself for everything I thought about and all the prep I thought to do. And I know that you can't really be blamed or whatever. People just do what they do in these moments. This is funny, seeing all the oil on the top of this, by the way. I'll talk about that in a sec. I am so angry with myself. When I picked those shoes up, if I had just closed the kitchen door. Why? Because so of the main house, what set off on fire? The kitchen got wiped out, and so there's cladding on the outside of the house as well, which also caught on fire, but that stayed on the outside, and the attic caught on fire at the top of the house, right? But like a lot of the other rooms didn't actually have fire damage. What they did have is smoke damage. All right, if you guys take any lesson from this huge fucking long rambling rant I'm giving you guys right now, I'm telling you, close the fucking doors. That was a big, heavy exterior kitchen door. If I had just closed it when I went to pick up my shoes, and there was no smoke in the house at that point, if I had closed that door, things would have been much better. But because I didn't close that door, that one door, the fully on fire kitchen bellowed smoke into the rest of the house, straight through the living room, into the halls, into the dining room, into the toilets, all the way up the stairs, all the upstairs rooms, everything. Smoke damage everywhere. And it was smoke damage that killed the fish. It was smoke damage that knackered all the electronics. Smoke is like highly corrosive. It goes into everything. So I had some hanging plants that weren't exactly... This is really sad. Oh god. See, this is why I don't like telling these stories. Okay, I have some lovely like hanging vines that I have. Like I put up some shelves near my bed, and I have some lovely hanging vines. Okay, the thing is, right, in the dead of winter, when you're, you know, in the UK, the UK is quite far up north. I think a lot of people don't realise we have a lovely climate because of the Gulf Stream, but we're pretty far up north, right? So our days get very short, very short. And I was in a routine, as I often am, right, where I sleep through a lot of the day, and when I'm sleeping, I have blackout curtains. So there was a period this Christmas where I was not really seeing the sun very much. How cringy. I wasn't seeing the sun very much, right? So I had plants, but I was like, I don't want these plants in my room. They're going to die. Or they're not going to thrive. They're not going to get enough sunlight. So I took the plants downstairs. I said, okay, look, you guys can have some of my plants for now. Right, so I have these big hanging vines, really long. I would say they're maybe 2 foot long, and they start quite high up in the room, right? When I returned to the property after the fire, these plants are just caked. They are solid black, wilted, caked, withered up in just like they're dead, and then maybe the very last inch of the hanging vines, the very last inch, suddenly they're really green and alive again. And you can see from that, you can see how crazy this smoke field was. Obviously, smoke rises, right? So it had bellowed out. It had vomited into the living room. This was near the kitchen door on the other side. In the actual house, you can see how much smoke, like how it was just completely thick black. Like it was just... And all the walls, all the wallpaper, Everything. Like, you imagine where a TV, if there's a TV mounted to a wall or in a cabinet, the TV comes quite up. Everything is just... And then, of course, once the fire stops, the smoke eventually comes down. It all falls in, like, yellow, toxic chemical soot everywhere. It destroyed everything. Everything. And by the way, again, I don't want to get into too much, but there are people with health complications and stuff like respiratory issues. So, like... all the clothes, so like if you think about like my wardrobe, right? My wardrobe was closed. All the clothes in all my drawers, my underwear, my folded up shirts and everything, right? You think, well, that's fine. That's on another story. No, the smoke went everywhere. It gets into all the drawers. It gets behind all of the everything. Fucking stinks. So like, I'll give you an example. I haven't had an office chair. I've had this old guy's office chair, and this old guy doesn't live a life like I do. He doesn't spend much time on the internet or on the PC, right? He's got a horrible chair, right? He actually has 2 chairs. I love him and I love what he's helped, but his chair's like it was doing my back in. It was killing my ass. It was a horrible chair that I've been sitting on for the past 3 weeks or so, right? So about a week ago, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go get my office chair, right? Because we can't clean and we can't do anything until the fucking insurance companies accept liability. So they're just leaving all of our smoke damage, destroyed shit that we can't touch because they have to send a loss adjuster out and all. There's so much bullshit I've been going through, guys, with insurance companies. It's unfucking real. But anyway, so I can't touch any of my stuff. I need to prove it's been damaged if we're going to claim for it and all this. So, but I'm like, I've got to get a chair. So I go grab my office chair, right? This is how bad the smoke damage is. 3 weeks after the fire, I go grab my office chair. I wheel it across the street. I bring it here. I sit on it. All right, and I'm not a picky person, all right? I don't get nauseous. I don't get car sick. I'm going to jinx this. I don't really get ill, all right? I don't vomit. I'm not picky about what I eat. I'm not picky and leery about, like gross stuff. You know, like, I'm fine, right? I really, really don't give a shit, all right? The smoke, and to look at the chair, you wouldn't really think it's got anything wrong with it, right? But to sit on it for just like 5 minutes, 3 weeks after, the strong smell of smoke and soot, just on a chair, multiple rooms away from the fire, was enough not just to be uncomfortable. Like, I'll sit there uncomfortable and I'll become nose blind to the smell of smoke. I don't mind that. I'll sit there for 3 hours in a smoky smell, wait till I get nose blind, and I don't care, right? I'm not a picky person. About 5 minutes of it, I actually could feel the smoke sticking in the back of my throat, and it made me nauseous. It actually made me sick. Just a bit of fabric on a single office chair. And I was like, I fucking can't sit. I can't believe this shit. I cannot even sit on this. So I wheeled it back, put it back where it was. Like, everything would need ridiculous deep cleaning. And so that's the damage. So it's the smoke damage that knackers the house, right? Like, you might think, oh, as long as the fire doesn't get into the right room. No, guys, the smoke is fucking so bad. It's so bad. So I just look at that moment with that kitchen door, man, and I'm just like, oh, if I just close the door. If I closed that door, I know it would have got through the cracks or whatever, but it's a big, heavy door. And if I just knew to do that, it would have saved so much stuff. Oh, God, I want to tell you guys so much about the insurance. So I'll tell you a bit, okay? So my entire adult life, I have always paid for in all the properties that I have, you know, rented and gone to and moved to, I have always made sure I have contents insurance because, you know, it's very important for all the equipment and stuff I have here. They don't have contents insurance, and I didn't think to re-up it for this little period that I'm with them. There's no contents insurance. And so if we want contents cover, and we can get that legally, we can be indemnified. We just need to pursue a third-party liability claim because it wasn't our fault, because it wasn't our fire, and there's a big long story about this that I don't think I should really go into, relating to why the fire was lit in the first place, and rats and all kinds of other shit, basically. And so I don't think I should talk about all that. But basically, there's no contents insurance. I'm having to fight very, very hard at the moment and go through a lot of bureaucracy and a lots of bullshit to be able to claim back on what is essentially a fucking destroyed house. So 2 lessons for you all. I'm Genuinely serious, all right? And you're not gonna listen. You're not gonna care. Because it's just an internet story. Get contents insurance. I'm telling you now, get contents insurance. And secondly, and make sure you have everything set up in your house, right? Like, make sure your fire alarms and all that shit works, right? And also, if you're ever in a fire... I don't know if this is bad advice. Maybe I shouldn't give advice. Close the doors? That's not bad advice, is it? Right? If it takes you a second, or if it takes you ages, don't do it, right? Obviously, your life is in danger, all right? Don't do it. Close the doors. Close the doors. So, so yeah, insurance sucks even when you do everything right. Yeah. And don't talk about the... exactly. I'll give you guys the high drama. And I'll give you some good high drama now. Okay, so back to the side of the road. I'm standing there. I'm looking at the wall of fire and the smoke, and I'm like, holy fuck, this is fucking crazy. We're like reversing the car out of the drive because we're like, if we leave that fucking car there, the car's going to go up, so the car needs to get reversed. Out. Speaking of cars. Okay, so a second ago, I alluded to two things in the garden. I said the kitchen extension is in the garden. What else might be in the garden? Now, I'll interact with live chat here for a second. I'll be a good streamer. Does anyone watching live rural UK? Do you want to guess what there might have been in the garden that is now very relevant when there is a real inferno and it's jumping across even to the kitchen? Do you guys want to guess what might be in the garden for a rural UK house? I can tell you there are about 1,500,000 houses or something, or 2,500,000 houses that have a certain something. A shed? Yes, there were sheds. There were 3 sheds. The sheds were totaled. Hey, Mr. Modius, got it. Well done. An oil cylinder. There is an oil reservoir. So just so that you guys know, the way that this particular property is heated is oil heating. So there's a big fuck-off reservoir of kerosene heating oil in the garden on a giant concrete slab because it's incredibly dangerous. And not only that, but 1 week before the fire, it had been topped up with 500 litres of kerosene. And the fire gets to it. So I'm standing on the side of the road looking at this inferno. And what I'm about to describe... And okay. So it's mostly smoke. Alright, we all have a Hollywood idea of fire, or like a video gamey idea of fire or whatever, right? But you all know how it is in the real world. Nothing's as dramatic as it is in the movies in the real world. Nothing's that dramatic. Alright. Holy shit, did I just get a $100 donation? Bro, thank you for that. Thank you. I'm not being funny. It's hard times at the moment. That is very kind of you. Wow. Thank you. My viewer activity is not working. I'm on a shitty little thing here. I can't see anything. Crap. If I'm missing donations and things, I'm really sorry about that. Oh my god, everyone give that a thanks up and a love heart. Whoa. Thank you. I missed another one earlier from Esther-Ven, $10. Hi, thanks for the videos. Do you play the SAB World Level 3? No, I haven't played... I've played Guild Wars 3 days just to get a raid kill. I haven't done anything else. I'm really sorry. There will be videos coming, I promise. I'll talk to you guys about that in a second. Okay, so yeah, there was another donation I missed. Holy shit, dude, thank you very much for that. That's really kind. Okay, so yeah, it's not like the movies in real life, right? So I'm standing there. Now, look, the emotion of the moment and the crying and people freaking out was very movie-like, okay? And, you know, that was heartbreaking in its own way and very sad in its own way, right? And I think we can all appreciate that. You know, if you sit around browsing TikToks or whatever for long enough, you'll see videos of disasters, and there's always people absolutely losing their shit, right? So that was very Hollywood. But the truth is, right, I'm saying a wall of fire. Mostly it's just a lot of smoke. Like, just smoke, 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 smoke. You don't really get to see much. Until this, right? So suddenly I hear... I'm not going to use the word explosion. I didn't hear an explosion. But I heard, and now I heard two of them. I don't know why there were two of them, all right? But I heard two very... And by the way, from where I'm standing, I'm fucking far back, right? No one must be near the fire, obviously. And that's just instinctual. So you're not that far. So you're not that close to the house, right? And the oil reservoir's on the other side. But from where I'm standing, I hear... I'm not going to use the word explosion, but I hear a pop. Like a really fucking loud pop sound. And then I hear another really loud pop sound. Like I can't... It's almost like a clap. It's like a hollow clap sound. And I'm like, I wonder what that was. I'm not even thinking about the oil reservoir at the time. Now, to my left, across the road, maybe 30 to 40 seconds later, on the tarmac road, there's nothing flammable. It's a fucking tarmac road, you know, like a 2-lane road like you get in any you know, housing estate or whatever. So you've got like a concrete pathway and then a tarmac road and then another pathway on the other side. Across all of that, right? And a good distance away, I promise. I was in no real risk, right? There is a wall of fire. I'm not fucking joking. And what's happened, right, is the pops are the oil reservoir has given way to like this intense heat. The oil has leaked out, flowed across 2 gardens and across a road, and the fire has caught light on the oil, and that is just like you see in the movies. And it didn't burn for that long, but came across, and some poor fucker, all right, there's 2 gardens, 2 houses on fire, and some poor innocent bastard, I guess I'm a poor innocent bastard in this as well, but it was closer, some guy completely not related was parked on the other side of the road, and the oil carried the fire to that side of the road. And not, it didn't blow up his car, but it totaled his car. His car, after the incident, right, it's half burned out. Like, you know, like if you were to play Fallout or something, or you're watching Mad Max and you just see a destroyed car and it's just absolutely ruined. It's exactly like that. He has like a half perfectly fine car where like the paintwork isn't even ruined, and then the front half of his car with the engine and everything is just destroyed. So this cut, which has made the insurance more complex, by the way, and the fire report, which I had to pay £75 for, by the way, that says that like 2 cars got destroyed. So I don't know, maybe there was something else happened. So I don't know. So there was a very real moment of actual drama where I'm like, holy shit. So the fire brigade aren't here yet, I realise now. And the fire is just spreading. It's just spreading and spreading, and the kitchen's on fire, and the oil's gone up. And I am stressed, okay? And I want to be clear. I'm pretty calm. I'm pretty like I don't really care. It's not my property, so naturally I'm going to be a bit calmer about this. But look, I know that the world is structured in such a way that things can be rebuilt. Everyone's out, the dogs are out, we all have our health. And that guy in the high vis, by the way, that guy, he kept running around trying to calm people down. He was such a soldier, he was such a good guy. And he was like, there's nothing that can be done, don't worry, don't panic, there's nothing that we can do, everyone's safe, don't worry. And then he'd run to the next group and he'd say the same thing. So, and he kept saying, he was right? Like, and I knew that. I was kind of fine about it all. Like, it's just stuff, all right? Kitchens can be rebuilt, and you know, it can even be an opportunity. You know, you can get new stuff. You could, like, don't worry about it, all right? It's going to be stress, it's going to be a hassle, it's going to be annoying, but at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. The world helps people when they go through disasters. We have the privilege of living in the first fucking world in the 21st century. Like, don't worry about it. And I really wasn't worried about any of that. Like, even if the whole house had gone up, seriously. But I was stressed about the PC. That's so pathetic, I know, but it was. No, I wasn't stressed about the PC even. I wasn't stressed about losing a $3,000 PC or whatever. Or all of my clothes and all of my stuff and sentimental things. I mean, that was in my mind. I was worried about the password database. I was worried. I was like, I'm not going to have anything. I can't log in on anything on my phone. I don't even know whether I'll be able to get back onto my YouTube account. Like, because there are stories, right? Like, how can they verify? That's it. WoodenPotatoes is dead. At that point, I was like, I was freaking the fuck out about that. And so I'm sitting there. And so I think there was about 10 minutes, right? No. There was a really long time. So, okay, so for the first 10 minutes, there's no fire brigade. And the fire brigade get there. Now, here's the thing, okay? So, I can't really describe this to you. I could draw a picture. I did draw a picture! I did draw a picture ages ago. Hold on, let me see. I might be able to give you guys a cool little MS Paint demonstration. Please tell me I've still got it. Please tell me I've still got it. I can show you guys the layout. For this next little thing, showing you the layout is really important. God, this is going to be a lot of scrolling. Bear with me while I furiously scroll up in Discord. Oh, maybe I deleted it, though. I might have deleted it. Fuck. God. Why do me and my friends and my girlfriend talk so much shit? Oh, God. Oh, hold on. I can run a search. I control F for the word burn, and I found this quote. Your hair is winter fire, January embers. My heart burns there too. I'll give you guys a point if you know what I'm talking about. I'll give you guys a point. What is that from? I love that. I'll tell you, it's a little poem. I'll give you a tip. It's a little bit poem written by a little boy. Does anyone know what that is? My heart burns there too. Come on. Oh, there you go. I think I found it. Gimme. Oh. No, I don't have the pictures. Do I? Why would I delete those, though? Sorry, I'm losing the momentum here, aren't I? I'm losing the momentum of the great storytelling that I'm sure has not been too waffly. Okay, look, I'll give you... You guys are just going to have to imagine this, all right? The two houses are on a corner. Oh, I can draw it on the in-game Guild Wars map. Look at this. Okay, I'll show you. Ready? Okay. I'm going to draw you the road. You got to watch close here. Alt-tab, right? This is the road, right? Property 1 is here. Property 2 is here. The fire is lit here. Okay, so the fire burns all of this. The oil runs across the road. So again, here's the road. The oil runs across and blows up this guy's car. Okay, so that's how it works, right? It's on a corner. Okay, so you got property, and that's about where my room is and my PC. And here's the other property, right? The entrance to this property, where the fire started, is here. The entrance to this property is here, right? Because the road goes round like this. So, where do I want the fire brigade to go? I want them to drive round and I want them to park an engine here and to spray the house. But, because the fire started at this property up here and the 999 call was about this property, the fire brigade, when they get here, and it takes them about 10 minutes... The time to which I'm watching the fire spread. All the nice trees are here, right? The oil reservoir is here. The kitchen extension is here. The house is here. The fire is spread through all this shit, right? And and we're actually looking at the outside of our house getting set on fire here. The outside cladding and the attic right next to my room. I'm standing here, by the way, right? This is the road that we're watching from. So the oil slick came across here, so we were far away. I want them to start spraying the house here, but because the 999 call was for their property, the fire engine parks here. It parks here. Ah. So I'm standing here, and I go walk the dog over here at one point, and I'm like, oh, they're not going to put out our house. They're not putting out the right house. And I'm like, please drive down. And at a certain point, another fire engine comes and also parks here. And all I can see is them spraying over here, the hedge area. They're just spraying the hedge, spraying the hedge, spraying the hedge. They're not even around the corner, right? They don't even see that this house is going on fire. And I actually listen, I'm not going to get in anyone's way. I'm not one of the men that's running back and forth trying to be useful. As far as I'm concerned, there are professionals. They don't need the extra hassle of people being there. Get the fuck out of their way. Let them do their job. I'm not gonna do anything, all right? It's not my job, and I don't mean that in I don't want to do anything to help. I mean that in I'm probably going to be more of a hazard than a help. I know that I've got a lot of adrenaline, but just shut the fuck up and wait, right? That's what you do, all right? Not everybody acts that way. That's what I chose to do. And there was a quite comical moment where I see an officer turn the corner, walk very casually here, see it, and then run back. And I'm like, oh, he's just seen that my house is on fire. And look, listen, I have absolutely no problems with the fire brigade and the way that they acted on that day. They followed everything perfectly. They got there. Now look, there was 10 minutes before they got there that was fucking terrifying. I'll tell you what, those were some of the 10 longest minutes of my life. Right? Just watching the fire spread, knowing that we're in a distant area. Apparently the average time for them to get there is 30 minutes. And I'll tell you that if it had taken them 30 minutes, it would have been a lot worse. They were really quick. They ended up sending 4 engines, and I'd just like to note as well that by the end of it, yes, they did end up... There were 4 engines. There were 2 here, and there ended up being another 2 here eventually. Remember, they have to park at fire hydrants. People think we don't have them in the UK. We do. It's just that in America they have those like yellow ones that you can see. They're embedded in the ground. In the UK, we actually embed them in the ground. They're under hatches under the ground, and they have to pull them out. And the fire brigade actually said, by the way, after all of this was done, that it was a really interesting case for them because almost no one's oil reservoirs go up. And another thing that they get trained for when you're learning to be a firefighter, I don't know if there's any firefighters listening right now. But apparently one of the things they get trained for is they have to be ready for the eventuality that the fire hydrant itself is damaged and that they can't pull it out of the ground. They get trained for that eventuality, which is like a 1 in a million eventuality. That's what they had to do for this fire. And they all loved it. They were all like, this was great. This was really good. This was one of the most interesting fires we ever had. Because the oil flowed downhill, hit this guy's car, and this was also where the hydrant was. So they had a whole extra thing. They were like spraying foam and shit, because dealing with oil is different. They had like a bunch of different things going on with this, because it was a very specific case for them. So anyway, 10 minutes, very scary. My adrenaline's really spiking at that point. But I have that kind of weird thing where I kind of shut down when I have a bit of adrenaline, or I don't know, or I don't even really know that the adrenaline's there. I just get kind of, you know, there's that thing about sheep that, like, I'm definitely more of a freeze up guy than a fight or a flight guy. I'm a freeze up kind of guy. And what that basically meant was I just sort of stood around quite calmly, walked the dogs, gave people hugs, sat in the car, and just kept thinking, fuck, I'm about to lose everything. I should have got the PC. That's all I was really thinking, to be honest. And kept out of people's way. 10 minutes were quite scary. Then the fire brigade got there. Then there was a very, very scary long period where the fire brigade were there but did not see the damage to our property, and particularly that the attic was catching on fire and stuff. But then they saw it, and then there was a long period where they were like, spraying the house, and then they got ladders and started ripping all the tires off of the top of the house. Like, This must be quite fun. If you're a firefighter, you have the right to fuck someone's house up. You can take a hammer to it. You can do whatever you want, baby. So then there was a whole point where they, once they had put out what appeared... okay, so they'd opened this hole in the roof and just thrown tiles everywhere. And out of the roof, remember how I told you that the living room clearly had this massive cloud of smoke in it? All I can see from the side of the road, and all we know... is there's this hole on the roof now that the firefighters have opened. There's this hole, and it is vomiting smoke, black smoke, just coming out, like so much smoke, and all we can see is like, holy shit, there's that much smoke in the house. Does that mean the interior's on fire? I got no fucking idea. And obviously now the firefighters have got to figure that out. And I'll tell you what, all right, I'm gonna give you another cliche. All the cliches come out with this kind of stuff. Firefighters are fucking heroes, man. Like there's that word, hero. Like, they really are. I'm telling you. You're just hearing a story from me. Who gives a shit about stories? Who gives a shit about what your friends or family go through when you're not there, right? Who gives a shit about what you read online? I mean, really, it's just a little bit of popcorn entertainment, right? I get it. But I'm telling you, when it's actually you... when your house is on fire, when your shit is at risk, when you're standing there and no one's there, and you see actual real people in the physical real world rock up with a fucking fire engine and start blasting the house, and you're really looking at it, and they are actually saving your shit. They are real people actually there fixing the problem. Like you're like, oh, these people are fucking legends. Like, all I wanted to do was go over to them and be like, you guys are amazing. Like, thank you for dedicating your life to this shit. You guys are fucking heroes. Holy shit, they're stopping the fire. Can I stop the fire with the shitty little fire extinguisher that I bought for the kitchen 2 months ago? No. Can I do anything? No. I'm useless. I'm a pathetic little man just standing there watching the inferno. And here come these guys with all this gear and shit, and they're like fixing it. It's cool, right? I get why, like I've never really thought firefighters are cool or really cared. Like, whatever. They're just people getting a paycheck and they're picking something. But no, they're cool, man. It's cool. They're heroes. And so, yeah, cliche as it is, and you guys won't believe that cliche until your shit burns down, I suppose. But it was really something to see them get there and to, like, see that smoke bellowing out of the top of the house, and just know that there are actual professionals on it. And that, yeah, they actually have to risk their lives now. They have to actually get in there. And so, by the way, so when I was finally allowed in, eventually they gave me a tour once things were clear. And this was maybe 3-4 hours later. A lot of this, by the way, was just standing around in the freezing cold or in the community centre talking to all these strangers who were all being so nice and had banded together and had been so lovely. Like, there was an ex-Bobby there and stuff. People were so nice, right? Because we had to find accommodation in the chaos of all of this. It was like, well, where the fuck are we going to live? Like, we had to find an emergency Airbnb, and the lady who ran that Airbnb was nice and stuff, and like rushed to fix all the rooms and stuff. I mean, she got paid quite well for that night, so whatever, right? But we had a lot to do, or we were just going to be homeless for that night, right? Like, so, and I was surprised about that, actually. The firemen were all right, but they basically put out the fire, gave us a form, and left. And if there hadn't been other people in the community taking their own time to help us, you could easily have fallen through the cracks of that. It's that funny thing. You know, there's that cliche of when you're an adult, no one is coming to help you. People do come to help you in a lot of ways, but in some ways they don't. And that was quite funny to me, how hard it is, especially when you're dealing with insurance who are just looking out to save money. Jesus, man, like, talking about heroic jobs and great things to dedicate your lives to. There are certain jobs within the insurance sphere where you're nickeling and diming vulnerable people. That is awful, man. I think I saw a movie about that at some point. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so I got given a tour. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. And, you know, you see all the smoke damage in there. It was interesting for me to go into my room and look at my blackout curtain, like, fucking ripped off and shit thrown on the floor and like certain cabinets and things thrown to the side, and like well, just weird shit. By the way, a bunch of windows were smashed from the heat of the fire as well. The fire got hot enough to start breaking windows. Downstairs was a wreck, but upstairs was like, well, there was clearly no fire here. What is this? And what it is as I say, as a firefighter, you're allowed to when they get in, they don't have to they don't have to care about anything. They get in there and they will fuck your shit up to get to the fire and put it out. And because the fire was in the attic, like, they'd gone into the room with the entrance to the attic and, like, just thrown shit aside to get the hatch open, to get in there. Like, they do it in seconds. And obviously, and I'm not saying that's wrong, I just think it's kind of cool and interesting to see that, you know, like, these guys have every right to do everything they can to stop that fire instantly. And I feel like that must be fun on some level. So anyway, so yeah, they get in there. By the way, to this point, I still haven't seen how bad it is up there. There's like char and burn marks where the fire was getting through the cladding and stuff. And it's mostly smoke damage. But yeah, they put it out. They got the water to our property. There was a very frightening 10 minutes where I was sitting there thinking, shit, how long is the fire brigade gonna take to get here? Also, people are very weird about, like I think a lot of people froze. They didn't ring the people, and again, it's kind of hard for me to talk about certain stuff about the origin of the fire, and hopefully you guys understand that. But let's just say that the fire brigade were not rang early enough. And there was a big doubt for a long time. During that time, while we were waiting for them to get here, there was a big doubt of basically saying, are they actually coming? Did anyone actually ring them? And apparently on the very first call, because I was asleep during all this. I was asleep! Apparently during the first call, they were saying, are you sure it's a real fire? And we were like, yes, it's a real fucking fire. It's in the garden. And they were like, oh, so it's only in the garden? And it's like, does it threaten the house? It's like, well, no, not just yet, but it looks like it's going... Wait, it does, it's threatening the house. So there's that. So we didn't really even know how long, and we didn't know how long it would take them to drive there. It was very scary that first 10 minutes. After they got there, it was still scary, because it was like, I don't know how much is just burned in there. I actually have pictures from inside the car with the dogs looking at the house as fire is, like, licking against it. So I'll show you guys some pictures. So yeah, then the rest of the day it was just kind of waiting around, securing accommodation. This story could be 3 times as long as I then talk about everything else that happened. But basically, guys, what happened was I stayed at an Airbnb, then I stayed at a fishing retreat, and now I'm at this house a few doors down, which is handy, but can't be forever because the repairs look like they're going to take a long time, and this guy needs his place back, which is totally fair. It totally makes sense. So now it's a matter of finding a property to rent is very difficult at the moment because the Labour government has just enacted some amazing new legislation, renters' rights, where you can't be no fault evicted, you don't have to lock in for a year. Labour have passed a lot of really, really great policies, and this is one of them, and it's happening right around now, the 1st of May. So the industry's in chaos a bit at the moment, so there's a bunch of shit that's going on. Basically, guys, I don't really have my stuff. This office doesn't have a door. This old guy doesn't want regular doors. He wants sliding doors. And he's very old. And I'm not very handy, really. But I had to help him, you know, put some stuff up. I was very concerned. But he's very fit and very there with it for his age. But because it's a sliding door and the sliding door didn't get put up proper... About a week ago, I was going to stream because I thought the door would be up. But it's not really. It is up, but there's massive gaps around the outside. And this is a very, very, like... I can't remember what I told you guys already. This property is very small and it's all one story. And, you know, I'm not very comfortable streaming and being loud. So I'm doing it here in the middle of the night. A lot of these streams, because I don't really have a door or any soundproofing, they're going to be in the middle of the night while other people are asleep and they have a very loud fan. And so that's basically the situation. And so, yeah, I'm very sorry that it's 10 to 1 in the morning right now. I would rather do it in the hours earlier, but for the past 2 weeks I probably could have streamed, and I've sort of not, because I've been trying to get things sorted, and it just might not. So I'm just going to have to make do, basically. I'm going to have to make do.
Fire
What was the other thing I was going to talk about? There was something else. I don't know. I think that's the story. There was one extra tail end to it. Oh yeah, I was going to show you pictures. Here, I'll show you guys some pictures. Does anybody want to see some? So hopefully these are all good. So these are just a couple of pictures. I had a lot more. So that's like... That's the wall outside. So it's very weird. So I had that tour, right? It's really weird going back to a place that like 5 minutes ago was fine. And now like that chair you can see there, that was a wicker chair. And to see everything actually melted through. It's very weird seeing it in real life because you see all the small details. You see like certain lights and things that have melted. And how have I ended up dead? What the fuck? The second I look away, we get attacked. Oh, God. It's very weird in real life to actually... Like, you see a picture of a fire and you guys are about to see some pictures? Oh, my God. Come on. And you sort of see it in a macro way, but to actually pay attention and see the small details is pretty crazy. I'm just going to go to character selector. Screw it. So I don't know, but like that chair, and when you're actually walking around it and you're like, shit, this was fine a second ago, but it's all just absolutely destroyed. So I've got, these probably not that good. So those trees are all totally burned out. And they were all big, thriving, beautiful trees. There's about 13 of them total. You can see that hedge in the back. That's a little hedge. That is not the hedge that I've been talking about through most of this story. But that also went on fire. You can see a patch to the back right. That was a big thing of like artificial turf grass, which also completely went up. There's a huge gap between these ornamental trees and the main hedge line that caught on fire. You can see that cone over there. That's about where the stuff was flowing. That bench, for example, that bench doesn't look like much in this picture. But that bench is fucking ruined on the left. Like it's all burnt up and charred. And when you're actually there in real life and you see the small details, it's crazy. Because the bench was on fire at one point. This is the bigger hedge line. These were very lush, very beautiful, and this was very near to where the fire started. And so those went up. So imagine lighting a fire really close to that, and I'm talking very close. You can see that there's a skip on the other side of it, and the skip's all burned. Imagine lighting a fire around between the skip and the hedge. Would you do that? This is our place. Around the side, this was the cladding. You can see on the right, all the cladding is melting and breaking through. You can't really see it in that picture, but that window that isn't boarded up is shattered. The glass is shattered. That other one is a broken window. That was that's the extension. This is the roof in the kitchen. You can see at the back of that and the melted cabinets. This is a pretty shit picture. If I had shown you the floor, it's all damaged. It's all broken. It's all soot and everything's destroyed in there. You can see the smashed, caved-in window on the right. You can see that the fire burnt right through at the back. If I had actually taken a picture looking up, you would have seen the whole roof has burned down. Everything melted. You can see the little fire extinguisher I was talking about in the back in the corner there. That is a shed. That was a new shed filled with new stuff, all perfectly organized. They had moved into this property as their forever home. This was like their retirement place, right? This was a cheap place they'd moved to where everything they wanted was exactly how they wanted it, where they weren't in a big busy town or city anymore. This was it. And so they had set everything up there. It was all so nicely organized. That just looks like some shit ancient old refuse, right? It wasn't shit old ancient refuse. It was like a 200, 300 pound tool unit that was all perfectly glossy and had beautiful paint on it and everything. The entire... And that's a bit zoomed in. I'm telling you, it just looks like nothing. It looks like there was nothing there except some weird shit. That was one of 3 sheds that got destroyed. That is the oil reservoir, or what remains of it. That's the concrete basin that the oil reservoir was on. And you can see it's actually damaged at the bottom because it exploded and got like caved in. From the explosion, you can see the bench and stuff there. And you can see a red car and stuff at the back. Basically, behind that is a roundabout where I was watching this all from. And here, okay, here is my fish tank. After I went back in. So, there was no actual fire damage in my place. But the smoke, there was first of all no power, so no heating, no filtration, and the power was obviously dead. So so when I went back in, it was all toxic and all the fish died. It was just ruined. And I'll give you, and so what I was struggling to find a minute ago was a before picture, which I did get. I'll show you guys. I never showed you guys. I have a picture here for you. I had a way better one. This is the fish tank just before the fire. That's what it looked like. I've taken a little bit of the wood out. That's a little bit of what it looked like. I think that was right before I got my fish. This is a few months ago. You can see there's one monstera up there that's only just growing. I had 2 big, beautiful monsteras. That's how it looked. I'm not joking. It also has a bunch of like ember tetras in it. I have a video somewhere of them all schooling around and the bubbler going and everything. And they all died. I have a very grim memory of pouring them out. Everything died. So that's just a little bit, and everything is cake. You can't really see it so well, but you can smell it. And if you swab any of it, which I've had to do, if you take like a cotton bud to anything, it's just shit everywhere. It's just smoke, damn it. It's all wrecked. All the monitors, everything. It's all fucked. So yeah, I could do a lot more pictures, but as you guys know, I don't know. I still want to do this anonymously and all that. But yeah, it was a nightmare really, going back in. And it's just very ominous for me.
Fired up.
Thinking back, and at the start of this story, like that moment, I woke up. Oh, and by the way, I have no window facing the fire in my room. That room with the fish tank. It has no window. It also has no window to the front. And I'll just give you guys another little twist, right? I was fast asleep in the middle of the day, right? And the only reason I woke up and stayed up was because I was called by other people. Weird thing, they weren't even in the house. My stepdad was calling my name. They had been out. They had been at the local town. They were not at the house. They drove home to see the garden on fire as they pulled in. They'd been at like a doctor's appointment. It is very, very, very scary for me to realise that if that doctor's appointment had been a little bit delayed, as they often are, or they decided to go shopping instead of driving straight home, I would have slept in a lot longer. I mean, eventually a fire alarm would have gone off, right? But it would have been a lot longer. It's very ominous for me to think back to, and I remember it crystal clear, and I'm sure I always will. I was laying there, I heard the fan go off, I heard the filter for the tank go off, and I thought to myself, I'm not going to get up. I thought, fuck, that might have been the pond, that might be my fault. And I thought, fuck it, I'm just going to sleep, I'm so tired. And I rolled over. And it wasn't until then I heard, oh, the garden's on fire, the garden's on fire. And I would have had no view. My warning for that would have been quite late, way later than it really was. It's just a complete coincidence. Like, it's funny to think, yeah, all this stuff was in danger, but my life kind of was in danger as well, if it weren't for the fire alarms and that, which would have woken me up. So anyway, scary. Scary shit. Weird moment. I'll always think back to that moment where I was figuring out what I should do. Just think for yourselves, guys, what you're going to do. If a sudden fire happens for you, are you actually like ready for it or whatever? I don't know, man. Like, you're not going to care. And I know you're not, because I probably wouldn't. You won't be thinking about this. But fires do happen. If you want to save yourself a lot of hassle, make sure you have contents insurance. And if you want to be safe, make sure all your shit is there and set up, and you know, like people talk about having a go bag, right? I guess I kind of had a go bag with my filing thing. Like, I had my passport and everything ready to go. Everyone else that was being affected by the fire, as far as I can tell, didn't. And yeah, I was just panicked that I was going to lose everything, like all my accounts, and I was never going to get any of them back, because I don't know all the security questions for fucking thousands of hundreds of accounts. I don't know all the emails that were set up with everything. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't have it all. It could have been really bad. So there you go. So that's it. And then after that, you know, there was a bit of adrenaline on the day, a lot of hassle after that. That's the fire story for you all. That's it. Okay, I'm now going to look at chat here. And my throat is going. So by the way, so today's stream was just going to be this. What I do want to do is get back to regularly streaming. I cannot have any of these any more of these big fucking breaks. I want to play Guild Wars Reforged. I want to do the Super Adventure Box stuff. I want to cover these two. So listen, guys, my next stream. Now, I might do it daily. It might be other daily. I don't know, because I'm spending huge amounts of my time at the moment on securing another place to go and working on the insurance and all that, and it's all a bit, and I'm visiting properties. If you guys have been with me in Discord, you'll know a bit about that. I visited a potential property the other day to go to. It was a cottage, but when we went there, a bird, no one had been living there for like 6 months. A bird flew in through the chimney, got into the house, died after causing a mess, and it's a bit tragic and sad, and so it's like, oh, I can't really go there. And it's next to a busy road, and there's no security in the garden, and we have dogs and stuff, but whatever. So, and I'm thinking about just moving out on my own again, and there's a lot happening. So look, I'm hoping to do another stream tomorrow, but if not, maybe the day after. They will all be late night streams, and that's basically the plan. But I'd like to cover the new SAB level. I haven't done it. I've not logged in, guys. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. You can tell me. The big nerf has happened, right? I killed Ura, and that's about it. And I'm going to be making an Ura video, of course. But yeah, that's the situation. And I am sorry. You can say, oh, you had a fire, don't worry about it. But the reality is I should have been streaming a lot more even before that. It's just another thing in a long list of bullshit, right? Which you guys shouldn't have to be dealing with. Can I just say, look, some of you have donated here. Look at that. Kirka with $20. Terribly sorry to hear this. Best of wishes, mate. Yeah, thank you very much. Look, stuff happens, and I'm not looking to farm sympathy and pity. I'm really not. Thank you. What I will say is I have been so inactive lately. I have been so inactive, and I'm so ashamed of that. I just want to say thank you to those of you who have stayed on Patreon. If you do want to support me through this, please just hold on to that Patreon. Please just, I promise, I've got so many cool plans and so many things that I will be doing. Just hold on there. That is all that really matters to me. That is the real lifeline there, and that is what matters. So if you guys want to help out as I end this video here, that's the big thing. Obviously, donations here are amazing as well, and you can get big kudos from the people who are also live watching it and stuff. That's the big thing. So to those of you who have stuck it out with me and who have been empathetic, thank you. Just as I want to give a massive thanks to all those people who are strangers but helped us out around the day and the days after. I mean, they've all been so nice. Really, really, really nice. Yeah, Oblivion October's on the radiator? The radar, yeah. Alright. Yeah, test your smoke alarms, guys. I don't know what advice to give you guys. I think you should close your doors when you're leaving the property. Close the windows, close the doors. What's funny is I have a vague memory of making sure that the windows were shut. Not that I really acted on it. But I think I remember, because the radiator was next to a window as well, and I think I remember looking at it and thinking, is that window shut? It should be. And I think it was, and then I just left, because hey, whatever, right? Yeah, I don't know. In the future, I think I'm going to make sure that my password databases are properly set up. Oh, I'll give you guys another little twist. Another little twist. I was freaking out about my password database for the first, like, 2 hours while the firefighting was going on and they were clearing the inside and all that. I was freaking out. And then I thought, oh, hold on. I think one of my backups is in this fireproof thing, so I'm all right. And as soon as that happened, I like, was all right. I didn't actually check. I'll tell you what, about a week ago, I did check, and it wasn't in there. I really would have been fucked. It wasn't in there. So that helped with my mental health on the day, I guess. But yeah, I think my plan from this is to make sure I actually have that proper database actually backed up and safe. And yeah, maybe set yourselves up a go bag or something, guys. Something that you just know you can grab that has your shit. Or if not that, you know, if you're the type that has a safe in your house, make sure it's a fireproof safe or whatever. Make sure your passport's in there and all that shit. I don't know. But just stuff that will make your life easier and that you can quickly grab. I don't know, if you're a lady, jewelry or something maybe. I don't know. Is that crazy? Just have a think about it. Just have a think about what you would do. Because I'll tell you what, guys. I was just sitting there sleeping. Power went out. And I thought it was completely normal. I don't know what the numbers are. What caused the fire? Just joining? Well, I kind of have explained that already, and I don't want to go into too much detail about that. Just because I don't want to, I don't want to be getting angry or tactless or anything like that. Suffice it to say, it was not our fault. Yeah, chat, I've been terrible. I'm really sorry, chat. Does anyone have any questions or anything they want to ask? I'm going to scroll down. Anyone got any thoughts? I appreciate it's a bit quieter and a lot of people aren't around because it's late and I haven't scheduled this or anything. Yeah, I'm going to say, if you guys have any stories about house fires you went through, I'd love to hear them. So, over 9,000 Demons says, as someone who has gone through a house fire, I now have a go bag on an external file on Google. I have a list of all my valuables with pictures and prices for insurance purposes. It's terrifying. There you go, look. That's the kind of shit that you don't learn or you don't really give a fuck about doing until you go through it, right? Right? What was your house fire like? I would love to hear stories about you guys, even if you just have good fire stories. Like, I remember as a teenager going out and having a very big fire in a wooded area, getting drunk. And it was a good night, and there was never any problems or any danger. But I'm like looking at that, and I'm thinking of myself. I'm like, you prick, why the fuck were you a part of that? I mean, maybe I'm just being a bit. What did you do straight after the fire was out? Did anyone from the brigade give you advice what to do? Well, no, I think that's the thing that surprised me quite a lot. You're kind of on your own in a lot of ways. There is the Red Cross, and you know they sort of gave very vague advice and they tried to help, but I can't say there was too much actionable that came from it. The reality was day one was a lot of time just trying to book somewhere to live, a hotel or something. Just find somewhere to fucking live. The fire brigade, basically, they come in and they give you an incident handover where they just write, okay, here's some basic facts. Here's the time. Here's what we did. Here's your copy. They tell you not to touch anything. They say you cannot touch anything for insurance purposes. Your insurance should be fixing this up. Your insurance should be chronicling and logging everything. Don't try to fix it yourself. Don't do anything. They said just grab what you need for the first night. So I got given a tour of the place and I grabbed... What did I grab? Like a set of underwear, stuff like that, right? Like some new clothes. And everyone stank, and everything stank, I gotta tell you. You know, even if you have like a little small bonfire, you smell of soot, don't you, right? And you blow your nose like 2 days later and your bogies are like black, right? You guys know that? Imagine that over everything, all your stuff. You know, there's that cliche about people. Is it a cliche? But there's that thing, how smoke triggers PTSD for people like in war zones or who have been through big fires. You know, just the smell of smoke gives them PTSD. I never really thought that deeply about that, right? Like, it's just a trigger, it's just a thing. But no, I get it. It's because the smoke clings to everything, and the smoke won't leave you away. The car, just being in the car to drive away from the scene, reeks of smoke. You meet the person who runs the Airbnb and you're kind of embarrassed and a bit ashamed because you reek of smoke and you're about to make their Airbnb reek of smoke. And it's just, oh my god, man, smoke. What the fuck? What else is there? You're alive, that's all that matters. Yeah. Make sure you have your shit, guys, so that you get out. I can't imagine how scary it would have been to have... Like, I had that 5 seconds of getting out the front door. I cannot imagine if I had to worm my way through a whole house like that. Or like an apartment complex or something. That's some scary shit. Like, I'll tell you what, next time I'm at a hotel and I hear the hotel fire alarm go, I'm getting out. Or, you know, you hear about, like, public disasters where there's, like, a nightclub fire or whatever and people leave it just too long and, you know, you watch those horrible videos of, what was that Boston fire and the crashes at the door and stuff. Like, fuck, man. Your cat is your go bag? Yeah, right? Getting the pets out, of course. Your dad's propane tank exploded in the garage and sent the garage door flying across the street. Fireman said it was good we had the windows open because it probably would have lifted the roof. Wow! That's pretty interesting. Yeah, that's funny you mentioned that, by the way, because when I was paying for the fire report, the full report for the insurance and all this stuff, they gave an example of the kind of things you find in fire reports. Reports are for when it's not arson or there's no deaths. Full-blown investigations are when there are deaths. So they give examples, and the example of a report was something like that. A guy he'd used a leaf blower to blow his leaves, and it was like a diesel leaf blower, and it was really hot, and he had put it away in his garage, and it had ignited some shit in the garage while he wasn't watching. He'd closed the garage door and gone off. And then a fire had gone from his leaf blower to like something flammable, and then, like you said, a propane tank in his garage, and it blew up his garage and set his garage on fire. And that was that's an example of an accidental fire. Because there's distinctions legally between accidental fires, negligent fires, where someone is responsible and culpable, and when someone didn't act reasonably. Or a situation was allowed to exist which wasn't reasonable, and straight up arson, and there's a difference between criminal law and tort law, and so on and so on and so on. Anyway, your sister throwed out a burning match in a bin to bin it, and I had to put down the trash fire in your kitchen with pots of water. I'm sometimes afraid she'll burn the house down, or Mum will do, as both are clumsy. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, I'll give you guys another fun little irony. I swear to fucking God, the week before, I might have even mentioned it on stream. I had been talking to my raid team. We had been doing Ura, and I had watched and been talking about a video. There's a video online of a Minecraft streamer who burnt his house down on stream. Do you guys know this? I think his name is Dasake. Look it up on YouTube, right? I'm going to be signing off in a minute. After I sign off, go to YouTube. Search into the YouTube search Minecraft streamer burns his house down or something. It's this guy playing with a Zippo lighter. And he gets oil on his hand. And when the lighter finally goes, he's got oil all over his hand, so he uses tissue to try and put it out. And then he's got tissue on fire, so he tries to smother it with like a little pile of cardboard because his house is a mess. And then the cardboard's in fire, so then he goes into his kitchen to get water, but he only brings a tiny little cup out, and he pours it on and it does nothing. And then he runs back, and then he tries to smother it with a blanket, but all he does is like air into it, and then the blanket's on fire. And you watch it all, and it's all totally real. It's not a skit. This guy just makes it worse and worse and worse. And the whole time you can just hear Minecraft lava sound effects bubbling in the background. And you can hear his little stream notifications of like, he has like one of those really cringy text-to-speech things. But it's like a really high-pitched Korean voice going as like his own viewers are donating watching the fire go. And then the fire is big enough and the smoke starts and it sets his smoke alarm off. And he, during the fire and while trying to put it out, takes the time to return to the PC to mute the sounds, because the fire alarm sounds will of course be upsetting his viewers. So instead of tackling the fire, he goes to his computer to mute the fucking audio on his thing. And it's all streamed until eventually it all blacks out, you can't see anything, and the stream cuts out. I'm deadly serious, that's online. It's a guy called Dasake. I watched that about a week ago and had linked it to my raid buddies. And 1 week later, there I am. The power cut. Fucking crazy. So over 9,000 says it was solar panels on our roof that caught fire. Faulty installation. Oh my god, that's scary. I've always wanted to get solar panels when I get a place. When I actually buy a place. Obviously, when I rent places, I don't. It was fine for a few years, but then about 3 years after, we hear creaking in the attic and saw smoke. Wow. Was anyone ever held liable for that? How did that work out for you? My dad's propane tank... Oh, yeah, no, I read that one. Sorry, I'm still scrolled up. One of my friends says his PTSD is triggered with by the smell of burning flesh. Holy fuck, that's crazy. Why does he still regularly hear that smell? Or does he mean like the smell of bacon? That's how people smell, don't they? We smell like bacon. I think cannibals call us long pig because we smell like pork. We had a community fire not long ago that burned 3,000 acres, 2,500 homes, 600 businesses. Oh my god. Yeah, it just makes me think about those big public disasters. There was a really big one in Wales where there was like a bunch of kids. This is really dark, this fucking disaster. Someone watching this will know what I'm talking about. But some kids were at school. It was like an old mining town, and there was like a landfill on the hill on like the mountainside. Wales is very mountainy. There's like a massive fucking hill. The like an old coal mine. There was a landfill where they had emptied out a coal mine and they'd filled up this big thing. And anyway, in the years since, a village had been put at the bottom of this hill, and there was a kids' primary school, and it gave way and just... I don't know if that started with a fire, and it buried the school exactly when all the kids were at school. It was like 10 a.m. on a Tuesday or something, right as all the kids had got into school. Fucking horrifying. I think I'll look at public disasters and stories of fires and stuff like that with a bit more empathy now. I think that's just the way that people are, right? Like, you have to go through something to start giving more of a shit. If this streamer would do nothing, the fire would stop. Yeah, the Dasake thing. Yeah, seriously. He made it worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. It sounds like a script, says Valon. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? But it's also kind of, I think it's like a 4x3, 720, well, it wouldn't be 720, maybe a 480 stream or something of Minecraft from like years ago. I think it was before people started doing bullshit like that. Before this industry completely lost its mind. What happened to my voice? I've just been talking a lot. I'm going to stop in a second. Your dumbass friend used a jerry can to fuel a fireplace at his cottage as a team. Didn't burn down, but he ran out with the can on fire. I was very drunk and learned how fast a person sobers up if required. Yeah, they say that too, right? If you get a bit of adrenaline when you've been drinking, it all goes away. I'll tell you, the adrenaline woke me up. I did not feel sleepy for the rest of that day. Is there some other method of donating where you get a significant cut? You don't want to give YouTube 30% on Super Chats? Yes, Umbra, Patreon. I was one of the first people on Patreon. I am on the Founders Deal on Patreon. They take a very small cut. Other people who join Patreon lose a big amount. I do not. I am grandfathered into the original scheme, which is very generous. Patreon are incredibly good to me. Please, any of you, if you want to have a bit of sympathy or just help me out, please, please, please consider that platform. That is the #1 best place that you can go if you don't want to give YouTube 30%. Patreon, I will see a huge amount. Yes, they were supposed to check the solar panels every 10 years. Every year for 10 years, but they never did. Turns out the guy who installed it had left the company. Ah. Now, how long did that take to prove, by the way? Because obviously I'm mired in all of this. At the moment, like, no one's even helping. They're not doing anything. They're just seeing how much they can pass the buck. They're just doing... I'm dealing with like 5 different companies at once right now, and they're all just basically trying to wriggle out of helping. And they're all stalling, and they're all... It's horrible, man. It is fucking horrible. There you go. Found Minecraft player live streams house fire. Japanese streamer Dasake. I think the full thing is like 8 minutes. If you want to watch the whole thing. You vaguely remember them settling out of court due to negligence. Yeah, most of this is settled outside of court. They get like 90... They get 3 months? 90... I think it's 90 days under the pre-action protocol to actually come to terms with something before real action is taken. And I mean, that's how it works in the UK. I don't know other countries. There you go, Aberfan. That's it. The Aberfan disaster was dreadful. So much negligence, yeah. Yeah, just the thing is, guys, right, like the lesson is you can do everything right and shit will happen. Someone might drive their car into your house, whatever. You've got to be ready for... Well, yeah, you've got to be ready. Just have something in place. That's my advice. Have something in place, and if you end up in a fire scenario, close the doors. Just close the doors. Recently in the news, someone's house burned down because of a solar light brought at the dollar store. It had the wrong kind of battery inside and caught fire. That's crazy. Rocker says, with €5. Thanks, Rocker. Is there a way to donate a large percentage of my money to YouTube? I don't want 70% of my dono to go to this random streamer. Yeah, I don't know. What's the worst way you can do a donation? Who takes the biggest cut? I don't know. That's a good question. I bet there's services out there that will happily take a bigger cut. I remember years and years and years and years and years ago when I got my first partnership and people were ringing me and it was like much more signing real contracts. I've got like a bunch of documents that are in that case I was talking about, by the way, the fireproof case that like it was all very real. There weren't things in place for us early partners. Nowadays everything's monetized and automated and everyone can do this job and there's no prestige in this job and every random person can set up a stream to their friends in Discord or set up OBS. It's all easy. But back then there was still a lot, there was a lot to go through. And I remember being given loads of different quotes for, oh yeah, we'll partner with you for this. And there were some pretty shoddy quotes back then, 60%. I remember my first one was, I don't think I could talk about it at the time. I might not even still be able to talk about it. I'm on a very good cut though. I'm on a very good rate. Very, very, very good. That's what we get for being there early. Was it that that guy says, the Scar from the Lion King says in Margin Call? There's 3 ways to get ahead in life. Do it better than your competition, do it cheaper than your competition, or be there first. And I certainly fall into that last category with how inactive I've been. Guys, thank you very much for watching. That's my vlog about the fire. I hope it's been interesting. If you've got other questions or stories, let me have them. I'd love to platform them on the next part. I appreciate it's late at night, so a lot of people might have missed this. So drop your thoughts. Please feel free to drop your comments. If you're watching YouTube comments, I have been very away. It feels like streaming and being here and looking at Guild Wars and all that is kind of another universe at the moment. But I am settling back. I am coming back, I promise. Thank you for your patience. And if you do go to Patreon now as I close this out, thank you for that as well. That means the world to me. Thank you for the donations today, guys. And just being there for me. You've all been wonderful. Hopefully that's a bit of fun. There's a story for you all. And yeah, just to be clear, I'm moving again soon. So not quite out of the woods, but enough out hopefully that in the evenings I can do some streams. Look for me in World 3 next. I really want to do that. You guys know me. I love Super Adventure Books. How many days has it been up already? Oh my god, it ends in just 13. How long until the next major patch? Like, I got like nothing done here. 21 days left for the next major patch. Right, we got lots to look at. Oh yeah, and there's also like electrical damage from all the certain shit. I'm hoping the microphone wasn't bad. It has been cutting out, it has been breaking, stuff has been unstable. So again, that's another thing. It looks like the internet didn't cut out at least, so that's good. Thanks everybody. Have a great evening. I hope you'll have a good night. And take care of yourselves, guys. Sup or go back?